Okay, so everyone seems to be here. Welcome to the fourth workshop in the APT VR Jam. So, as usual, this is the last sheet. Please write your names, occupations, and whatnot. So it's meant for like discussion and the presentations and all such cool stuff. We also have Madis eating pizza there. He came to check out if all the trackers are still here and maybe give you comments on your results. But before we move on to you, I still have a few words to say and make you forget all that you learned during the 2 days. Some of you might know the concept of a game flow. So who does know that? I would say most of you probably know what game flow is. Raise your hands. The right hand is all tired from the first workshop, right? So none of you know what the game flow is. Okay, so it's basically this state, player's kind of mental state, where he enjoys the game and forgets about everything else and plays for hours and hours. And it's defined, speculated it's a balance between the challenges that the game proposes for the player and the skills the player learns during the play. If one of those actions is lacking, then you end up with boredom or anxiety, and these are not the feelings you want to enhance in the player. Now, how does this relate to what we have discussed? Basically, immersion is something that affects the meaningfulness of challenges. So if the game is not immersive enough, then the challenges kind of seem empty and the player isn't really challenged and doesn't find the game meaningful. So the game is a waste of the player's time versus big immersion. He wants to win and succeed in overcoming the challenges. The other thing that we have discussed is clarity, and I think that affects the acquisition and use of skills. So basically, the player may feel that he's too dumb to play this game if you have made a very confusing game. Although it might not require like some very intelligent thinking, it's just too confusing. And the other end is that it's very logical. The player even doesn't have to think about like what are the mechanics, what are the rules. It just plays, and it all the skills grow naturally. Okay. So in that sense, immersion and clarity are kind of prerequisites for achieving flow. Of course, if you have immersion and clarity, you still need to work on the challenges and skills aspects and polish and all that, but those are the baseline for those two. This is why we talked about them in that detail throughout the jam. Any questions about game flow? Now you all know what this is, so next time raise your hands if someone asks what is game flow. Okay. Other topic I wanted to discuss is presentation of your game. So if you go to like, okay, I don't know why this image is there. So one presentation is what you'll be doing here amongst yourselves. Now you all are aware of VR and what it offers, but if you present your game at Expos, from experience, I can say that a large part of the player feedback seems to be something I would call a VR glare. So basically, people come to play your game just to try out VR, and they are amazed by VR, not necessarily your game. So it might be the first experience and so on. So keep that in mind when you're presenting your game to a potential player base. So in that topic, it's important to inspect yourself, like how people are actually playing your game. What are they? What are the difficulties? What are they enjoying, and so on. and is it the game or the VR or the combination of them, and how this relates. The verbal feedback might not be the best because they will say it's the most awesome experience ever, but if they haven't tried VR before, then it very well might have been any game that would have given them that experience. Take notes when watching players play your game. So that's very useful when you're playtesting. Write down all ideas or all shortcomings you see players have, and work on them later. Any questions about presenting your game to others? Seems okay. It's different from like presenting a PC game where people mostly have played PC games before. They know kind of their expectations there. In VR, it's often not so, at least in like public expos and so on. Okay. If there are no questions or discussion about this, then the arcade. So what is here to inspect your games for the potential of making an arcade version of it and making money and other than going and playing your game and whatever can happen. What is the arcade? Or you probably want to do another build for the arcade that is different from the one you sell in Steam. Oh, and as a side note, you after today you can all like create a company. It's very easy in Estonia, and put your game on Steam. I think it's still like free, right?
I think it's like $100.
The company, of course.
No.
Putting it
to Steam now.
Oh. Okay, so for $100 you can put it on Steam, but it's not that much. It's an investment. You will get it back probably. Probably. Most probably. When we did develop Trivocalypse, then I think it was free and we could just put it up there. Okay. But for the arcade, you want to do a different build, because in the arcade, people do not have 5 minutes to even they have less than this to kind of get invested or to figure out what your game is about. So they don't have 5 minutes to navigate your menus, all sorts of different menus you might have put there. Create some custom character. I mean, this is the arcade. They probably won't be coming back there, so they don't care about how their character is. Read some extensive lore, so they didn't come to arcade to read. They could do it at home, like if it's a really immersive game, they might spend hours and hours and maybe days, weeks reading the lore you put in your game, but not in the arcade. Select options. If you have lots of options, then that take more than 5 minutes to configure, then they might not have time to configure them all. I don't know, what is this 20 seconds too long? Or what would you say?
Yeah, ideally, it starts when you start the game.
Okay.
A good example is Superhot. Have I heard of it? There's a VR version, and the VR version also has two versions. One is the Steam game, and the other is like this show floor demo that instantly throws you into the action, and then step by step teaches you some stuff, but you can already start punching people on the second.
But let's say the longbow from the lab, so how much time it takes a customer to find the bow, to pick it up, fire the first shot, and start the actual match?
Also, like, I guess less than 20 seconds.
Less than 20 seconds.
That's the problem with longbow, is that it's hidden inside a bigger game, so luckily we found this shortcut that you can add to the executable file, so you get straight into the game. Otherwise, it was a real pain to guide people through different menus. So actually getting into the game.
But then it's like longer than 20. Then it's probably a couple of minutes to guide through different menus. Okay.
It had many options to get lost.
What about to customize your character? No, okay.
We actually did that in one game, and we had trouble presenting it.
But I wasn't paying, so yeah. So have the most minimum time you can to like have the player get into the actual core of your game.
It's also good for your own sake when you're demoing the game somewhere. You don't want to go through the menus every time.
Yeah, so the arcade build will probably be similar to your Expo build in that sense, yes. Yeah, it should be really obvious for the player what to do in the game, in the sense that if you like play your PC game, it probably takes it has some learning curve. So even the like first hours might not be all that clear what do you have to do here, but then it comes clear and you really enjoy the game. In the arcade, it's people don't have several hours or maybe even like 5 minutes to understand like what is the goal, what they should do. So it should be really obvious. So it's kind of like this. They jump into the action right away. Nothing, no tutorial, and yeah. Who has seen this movie? Yeah, then we get the reference probably. Okay, any questions about the arcade? So Madis will be inspecting your games and seeing which of those are arcade compatible.
Statistically, most of your players will be like 10-year-olds.
So don't put violence in the game. Okay. So I don't know, it's discussion time. Do we have some topics you want to discuss, ask us?
I want to actually ask about the Steam publishing. What do you have to do in order to get published, and how difficult is the process?
So what we did, now this is very specific to VR titles. What we did is we created a company in Estonia in the portal. It took us a couple of hours. It's not a 5-minute company. I mean, it took us a couple of hours, and then we sent. Wonder what did we? That was basically all we needed to do. So we created an account on Steam, a company account, and uploaded the game. It went through our review process, and we set some configuration, like what is the price and so on. Wrote the page for the game, and that was it.
And you also have to manage your bank details as well in Steam, which isn't a trivial problem because you have to create your bank account and you have to get all the details.
Yeah, like in the sense, if you create a company, create a bank account as well. Yes.
Yeah, that takes a bit more than an hour.
But this was, a bank account was half an hour. Like I went to the bank and I got it done.
The hardest part is to actually prove that they have a company, because since we're in Estonia, the US or something,
yeah,
basically screen cap your ID register or something.
Yes.
They basically see, I have all this data there, please accept me. And then they sometimes silently do it, and they're waiting for response, and then actually upload your game over again.
Yeah, that was true. Like it just takes some time, so don't do it like on your planned launch date. There was this company confirmation. This was actually done by some third party that was not Steam, and they needed to confirm this. I don't know. And exactly like Madis said, I took a screenshot of the area register portal and sent it to that email that they gave. Yeah, did that answer most of your questions? Okay, cool.
And then you get some cool scripts that upload your game.
Yeah, that's something Jens can Jens can talk about. Like, how do you upload your game to Steam?
If you know how to do it, it takes like 2 minutes, maybe less.
But
Don't know how to do it, it takes like an hour or 2.
There are tutorial videos online that will
Yeah,
walk
but
you through the
they
process.
skip some steps, like small steps. And then you're like, why isn't it working like it is in the video? Then you have to figure those steps out. But basically, there's a zip you have to download from the internet. Unpack it. There is a certain folder into which you have to put your build. That's done, you have to prepare 2 or 3 files. Then run an executable, log in, and put in a certain command, and it will be uploaded. So that's like, it's without the details in a nutshell.
so it's like a separate script or separate file that actually uploads your build into Steam. But it's
another question. Can you do any sort of like closed data sets so you don't have to, you can just invite the Steam users and you don't have to do the content like stuff or something?
Yes, you can do a separate demo. You can do a beta alongside with your main project. Not sure about the details, but yes.
And then spread these Steam keys for the
yeah, with the Steam keys, it's if you send a key to someone, then their review, if they will write a review, will be flagged that this is a free download. So it's something to note. But otherwise, there are different issues with like people asking for keys and trying to scam you for keys and so on. But yeah. Okay. So if there's nothing else, then the plan is that I understand that not all of you have finished the game yet, so you can basically do it tonight. Tomorrow we'll probably like to reset the room. So, but tonight you'll have all the time you need, and I hope that you'll visit other teams and try out their games, see what they made during those 2 days. Madis is probably going to do it, the instructors will probably test out each of your games and give you feedback. Yeah, we'll do it like this. So all of the people who are here, who attended, for each of you, there is a keychain on this table. Take it. They're different, they're fun. So I'm not gonna call you out here by name, but please do. After I've ended here, come here, take a keychain. If you come first, then you have the most variety to pick one. I expect all of those to be gone, so don't leave any here. Take also pins. We have lots left over. And I hope you enjoyed the jam. And yeah, thank you.